is Arunava Chaudhuri and you are on my YouTube channel Arunfoot. The All India Football Federation came together for a special general body meeting on Sunday, October the 12th to discuss and then adopt the new draft All India Football Federation constitution prepared by former Judge Nageshwar Rao in the name of the Supreme Court of India. But the AIFF in the last few days has realized that if it adopted the constitution in its current form, that the matter of third-party influence would still persist, while the state associations had an issue of one person, one post, in the sense of saying you cannot be part of the state association as well as be part of the executive committee of the All India Football Federation. Those points were kept out. The rest of the constitution was adopted, even though I still feel and fear there are 5, 6, 7, 8 points maybe that need to be rephrased, that need to be maybe taken out. But again, that's a discussion maybe for another day. Now, the Supreme Court will look at those two clauses, and we're discussing the clauses, and I want to mention them here in this video. First of all, clause 23.3, which says any such amendment shall not be given to without the leave of the Honorable Supreme Court, which means that de facto, if the AIFF wants to change anything in the Constitution, it needs to get the green signal, it needs to get the green light of the Supreme Court of India. And that in itself, as per the definition of World Governing Body FIFA as well as of the AFC, is third-party intervention, because the Supreme Court of India can say yes or no to changes to the Constitution. Now, what had been suggested to this Article 23.3 is that theoretically you say, you know what, for now, the Supreme Court has a say, it is adopted, and once it is adopted in full, the new Constitution, that the Supreme Court of India no longer has any say in regard to the Constitution of the All India Football Federation. A very interesting step, a very interesting point. One will have to see if the Supreme Court of India agrees to this, or if Nageshwar Rao and the sit-in judges and justices of the Supreme Court say, you know what, no, we want oversight, we need oversight, and they still do not understand law of sport stands above the law of the land. The second clause of contention is Clause C of Article 25.3, which states, in the event a person is elected as an office bearer in the executive committee of the AIFF and holds a position of an office bearer in a member association, she shall automatically be deemed to have vacated his/her position in the member association. That means if it is agreed upon and adopted as per the new AIFF constitution, this would mean that the majority of members of the current EXCO, even if the term of the EXCO is allowed to run until next year, September, they would have to resign, and then elections would have to be held. And this is a point which I find is very tricky in itself, because who makes up the executive committee of the AIFF, which in my opinion is another question which has not been dealt with. Why do I have an extended level of reservation for former players? Why are the clubs not getting a bigger share and space on the table of the EXCO? Yes, they've said, you know what, a representative from the ISL, I-League, IWL, but the clubs are the backbone in regard to, especially the professional clubs anywhere in the world, in regard to the funding and running of the game. So therefore, there are still contentious issue, in my opinion, which from a governance aspect tell you that this constitution actually needs still a lot of tweaking to be perfect to the needs and the requirements of Indian football, as well as its parent body, the All India Football Federation. Now, 32 members attended the special general body meeting, and on the other side, 29 of the 32 members voted in favor of the draft AIFF constitution. Interestingly, those who didn't vote for it are former AIFF President Praful Patel as a representative for Maharashtra, WIFA, as well as former Vice President of the AIFF, Subrata Dotto, as the chairman of the IFA West Bengal. Meanwhile, Delhi did not support the draft constitution, asking what are the requirements of what is an eminent player to be sitting on the executive committee. And that, to me, is actually a right question. FIFA and the AFC were also represented at the meeting in regard to as observers. I think that's a very, very important thing. Emily Doms, FIFA Manager Members Association Governance Service, was there. Sonam Jigme, Senior Manager, South Asia Unit, Member Association Division of the AFC, as well as Prince Rufus, who is the FIFA Regional Development Officer Manager for South Asia. So it's very, very clear. The 12th of October will not be the day that the new AIFF constitution was fully adopted. It will not be the day that India walked blindly into another FIFA ban. So that has been avoided for the moment. But October 30th is coming up fast. So far, there's been no talk between the AIFF and FIFA as well as the AFC to say, you know what, could you give us a little bit of more time? So now, this matter moves back to the Supreme Court of India, because if there are no changes to the Constitution, to the Articles 23.3 and 25.3, then October 30th could be the day that the All India Football Federation and Indian football gets a ban. That is still a realistic danger, but as I just said, October 12th will not be the day because of which we will get banned. It is now up to the Supreme Court of India to make, hopefully, changes to these articles and hand back the independence of the running of Indian football to the AIFF, and then let football get controlled by football. I know it's a complex topic. I know it's not so easy to understand. I hope I made it understandable and logical for you to follow. And as always, if you have any questions, if you have any observations, anything to add to what I just said, write those things down in the comments below. And as always, like, share and subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, visit arunfoot.com. And I'll be back very soon. Arunava Chaudhuri signing off. Bye for now.